YouTube family. Welcome to Escape from Crazytown and welcome to Happy Crappy Hour, our weekly live stream. Good to see you guys already hopping on. Glad to see you here. Let me change my chat notification. All right. So hopefully I will see you guys popping on and chatting away with me. This is great. Hey, today we have a great topic and it's regarding whether the narcissist is cheating on the new supplier or not. Because I know a lot of people, after they've been taken advantage of by the narcissist, and then they see the narcissist move on with other supply, and your first thought is, what's wrong with me? What happened? Why? How did I cause this? And I want you to know you did not cause this. This is the characteristic of the narcissist. The narcissist wants to use people, needs to use people, and that is their way of just living and surviving. So it's just natural for them to move from person to person and use people after people. And so when we look at them and we think, oh, now they have become this upstanding, wonderful person, that's just a mirage. That is not who they really are. They're still the same person they were when they were with you. So this is what we're going to explore today. How do we even know that the narcissist is cheating on the new supply? So we're going to hop into that in a couple of seconds here. But first I want to talk about happies and crappies. Yes, Happy Crappy Hour is about what we learned through things that happened this week that went well. So we want to keep doing those things, and what did not go well. So to stop doing those things, right? And maybe learn from them. So for me this week, what has been going well and what has not been going well? Well, let me see. One thing that's been going well is that I've been reading more. That really helps me to center myself. So getting back to reading books that are inspiring or reading books that are educational to me or helps me spiritually, those have been such a fresh breath, for me. So at a time when you start to feel down and you're feeling like nothing's quite going well and you just need a boost, go back to something very, very basic in your life that brought you joy. So that's what I learned, go back to doing that. Now, what has not been going well this week for me, let me think. Has there been something? Well, I guess a little bit of communication. I had some car problem, and let me see. I ended up calling this dealership to fix something that was under warranty, right? And that I assumed was under warranty. And then I called them. I did ask them, and the best thing I did, by the way, was to communicate with them through email. So I did call, talked to two different people, but I also had emailed someone from the dealership, and they were emailing back and forth with me. And there I specifically asked, is this under warranty? Are you certain this is under warranty? Because at first the guy said, I think it's under warranty, or it should be under warranty. Anyway, I pinned him down and said, are you sure it's under warranty? And he responded back, yes, it definitely is under warranty. Anyway, here I am checking out later on after they did the work. And the cashier guy says, so do you want to pay with credit card or do you want to pay, whatever, with a check? And I was like, wait a minute. No, this is under warranty. And thank goodness I had the proof in email. So you guys, it is really important to have things documented. We know that in business. We know that when we're buying something big or, making a repair that's going to cost you a few $100s, which this was, it really should, I don't think it should have been very much at all. I think it was a part they could have replaced for $10. But anyway, saved myself a few $100s because I got them to put it in writing. This also applies when you are interacting with a narcissist. You absolutely want documentation. You want proof. You want to have emails that you save, voice messages that you save, even recording it onto other devices should you change carriers or anything like that. Let me see what else. You want to document, even if you don't have video or audio or emails, texts, something like that, and you just happen to have verbal communication with a narcissist. Say you have to meet up for child custody issues, right? During those times, you still need to document. So keep a binder, keep a folder, keep a notebook where you write down your interaction with the narcissist. Write down who was witness there, if your mother-in-law was there, if his friend or her friend was there when you did the exchange. Write this down so you have documentation of in a journal. You'll have a date, you'll have a time, you have a place, you have witnesses, and you write down what was said. Even if it seems like not a whole lot was said or not a whole lot was done, just write it down. Agreements that you made. Yeah, that we agreed to pick up, or meet up at 5 p.m. Whatever it was, write it down. This is what you have to do with narcissist, and it will serve you really well later on because our memories change. Our memories don't. We can't keep track of every day of our life. So if we need to go back even 3 weeks ago, then we can go back in the journal and say, well, 3 weeks ago when we met up, you said this, and you have it in a journal and you know it word for word because you wrote it right then and there. Because sometimes we forget how things were said or what exact words were used, so do this for yourself. It is really important to document. So those were my happies and crappies. Hey, you guys, so glad to see you hopping on. Obi-Wan, good to see you. Says, my narc said she cheated on me because she needs sensitivity and she can't find it with me. But I'm an extremely nice guy. Yep. So here's the thing, you guys. Obi, thanks for bringing that up. So today's topic is, does the narcissist cheat on the new supply? Now, we know the narcissist cheated on us, right? So they're going to be the same person. So when they have another supply, because you were at one time their new supply. So now that they have another supply, they're going to cheat on that one because no one person can satisfy everything in a narcissist. The narcissist needs far more than anybody can deliver. And actually, you know what? All of us do. All of us need more than any one person can give us. So it's not fair to demand from one person to be everything for us. But the difference between a narcissist and us is that we find healthy ways to then to supply the things that we need. Like if we need financial support, we'll go out and get a job. If we need emotional support, we'll have our significant other, right, our partner, plus we'll have friends, because your significant other cannot be every emotional support for you. That's just impossible. You also need to learn to become your own support, right? Go into a healthy spot in your life or do something healthy that will provide for you. I'm sorry, I'm having a hard time speaking this morning. That will provide for you the emotional support you need. And like I was saying at the beginning, my happy was that I went back to something that gave me joy. So during a time when I was feeling kind of down or kind of, just kind of in limbo, not really moving forward, not really moving backwards. So, but not quite motivated either, right? Not inspired. So what should I do? I go to something that inspires me, and reading inspires me. Watching documentaries inspires me. Watching people's struggles and how they overcame inspires me. So that's what we do. Narcissists don't have that healthy mindset. So they're going to demand from others, from their supply, to fulfill their inspiration, right? If they're not feeling inspired, they want the supply to inspire them. And the supply can't just on a dime change and become exactly what the narcissist needs every time. So, of course, the narcissist is going to search other supply to provide that. So they think instead of going to a book or an inspirational video or going to a conference or, even going to friends who are inspirational, they want to find someone new and flashy like a toy, right? and that will inspire them. So they go out on the lookout for more supply. And that's when the narcissist starts to cheat on the new supply. Anyway, you guys, thanks for bringing that up, Obi. Let's move on to John here says, good morning. Oh, no new updates. Well, that's a good thing, right? Sometimes no news is good news. And John's situation, if you guys don't know, is that he has an ex-narc who has, I think, married, right? Married somebody a couple years ago, but she keeps calling him. So here's your other indication that the narcissist absolutely is cheating on the new supply, because they will still stay in touch with you, right? They'll still text you, email you, call you, leave you messages telling you how much they miss you. They might even say that they made a mistake, right? They may even confess and say, oh, I made a mistake, meaning that they moved on to somebody else and now they're regretting it, even though they keep staying with that mistake, with that new supply. And a lot of times the reason they stay with that new supply is because the new supply is willing to stick around. The new supply is their backup. Yeah, their backup. It's not even their main focus, it's their backup. So they don't see the new supply as someone that they want to fall in love with or build a life with, or be a better person to, so that they can give something to the new supply because they love the new supply so much. No, they see the new supply as my backup. You're here because you've fallen for me. I've tricked you. That you need me, or in some way, and so they keep the new supply around. And then while they test the waters, even with old supply, even with you, with their exes, right? They will go to their exes that they used to like, right? Because they'll remember the good times when they're away from you, and they'll try to reel you back in. Because from afar, you actually look pretty good. Because let me tell you, behind closed doors with a narcissist, it's a nightmare. And the narcissist knows it's a nightmare with them behind closed doors. So when they're looking over at you across the way, you look like you're doing just fine. You look the same that you looked before. You look maybe even better, especially if you've done some of the things I've suggested and worked on yourself, improved yourself emotionally, physically, mentally, got more education, threw yourself into your career. You're moving up in the world. And they're looking over there at you going, oh no, I'm missing out. Things look too good for you. Now I regret having left you. I want to come back to you. And of course, they're going to test the waters to see if you will take them back. And that is what has been happening with John. And we have all been supporting John in not contacting and not allowing the narcissist back into his life. So Rise Shines, good to see you all. Oh, okay. Oh my gosh. Oh, he says, my current suspected narc is on vacation. My happy. Probably off cheating on me in another state. Yeah, I'm telling you, be careful of that. That's why a lot of times I don't recommend you jump right into another relationship. Make sure you become better at discerning character. Make sure you become better at building the kind of life you want to have and the kind of people you want to have in your life. Then you won't have to worry so much about crazy people coming in and out of your life. There's a risk. Good to see you. SNB, hello from the UK. Oh, I hope you guys are doing okay out there. Jenny Schluter, good to see you. Renee, good morning. Yeah. Rye says, I always have had really great friends. Ex-narc would change friends like socks. Yep. I did make our relationship first, but he never appreciated it. He kept his bar stool warm. That's it. Wow. Yep. That's very, very stereotypical narcissist. They do change out their friends like socks. They change out their supply like socks, while we tend to keep people in our lives, right? Yep. Renee says, my ex-narc has returned after 3 years, no contact. He's been laying it on thick, although he's still with the new supply he cheated on me with. Oh, you guys, thank you for, you guys know, and I know we have experienced this. Thank you, Renee, for bringing this up. Exactly my point. The narcissists will come back to their exes once they realize their their life with the new supply is a disaster, because they think that when the new supply comes into their life, they think this time it's going to be perfect. This time everything is going to work out, and they don't do the work in changing themselves. So they always bring their baggage, their trauma, their selfishness, right? Their self centeredness, their narcissistic personality into the relationship. And yet they think somehow, even with bringing all of that into the relationship, the new supply is going to be perfect, in that they are going to be able to mold into what the narcissist wants, needs, and demands 24/7. And yet, the new supply cannot do that. So, of course, when things turn into a nightmare behind closed doors or in their home, and probably other people are witnessing this, um, they will start casting their line elsewhere. They will start, and if around them there doesn't seem to be anybody who's interested, because everybody's getting to know the narcissist now, they will go back to old supply, like you were saying, 3 years ago, right, Renee? So after 3 years of no contact, her ex is now contacting her. He's trying to see if there is still some interest, because things are falling apart with the new supply, who is not so new anymore, right? And now he's actually open to cheating on the new supply. I think that's why there's a saying that once a cheater, always a cheater. I don't exactly believe that's true, but it's absolutely true with narcissists. They just don't stop cheating. If they have the opportunity, the only time they will stop cheating actually is when there's no more opportunity to cheat. So in their minds, they will always be looking for someone to cheat with. They're always looking for a new, fresh, exciting supply. So if there's an opportunity to get that, they will go for it. They don't have this filter. They don't have this ability to pull themselves back. So yeah, he's still with, yeah. So I'm hoping, yeah, you're saying that he's laying it on thick, and I'm hoping that you are resisting. Remember what he had done, and remember that this does not, what he's doing right now, he's desperate, and he wants to try to get back something that is no longer there. That's why a lot of times, second time around, and with people who haven't made the changes, haven't done the work to improve themselves or get better, it just doesn't work. Like if they come back and they expect things to be exactly the same, those are going to turn out to be disastrous relationships second time around, even worse than the first time. But if someone has made the effort, has put in the work and changed themselves, got off of their addictions, started improving themselves, got their finances in order, their life starts to become in order, right? They're being responsible. Then they want to come back into your life and bring you into their now much better life. That has a chance of working out. There, you then can grow together, right? But if they haven't done the work, they're still the same lying, cheating scoundrel, addicted to everything, and they everything's been repossessed in their life. They're a financial disaster, and they're like, "Hey, come back! Take me back into your life." Uh, this is a huge wake up call for you. So I hope that those of you that are looking at or are facing the hoovering, you'll stop and look at them. Take a very, very close look at the narcissist and see if anything has changed in their life. And I'm not talking about tiny little things, right? I wanted to see big things change in their life before you would allow a person back into your life. And I'm not saying allow a narcissist back into your life. That's the difference between a narcissist and everybody else. Other people will actually try to improve themselves. Narcissists They put on the facade of improving themselves, but then you're looking at their finances and they're exactly where they are. They might be a little more convincing because they've learned to be more charming. They've learned a few more tools, right, of the trade. They've learned how to be more manipulative. So be very careful of that. I'm going to grab some coffee here, you guys. Take a break and have some of your own. Hmm. Let me see. Riss says the narc cheated on his new supply twice and she still stayed with him and follows him around. Exactly. Thanks, Riss. That is what I mentioned earlier on as well. The only time the narcissist will stay with a new supply is because the new supply will allow it, right? The new supply will tolerate the cheating, the lying, the stealing, the continual manipulation, the continual gaslighting. And to me, that's really sad for the new supply because they must be so, I don't know, depleted or have zero self-esteem that they think this is the best that they deserve, right? This is the best they can do. And this is why I talk to you guys to help you understand you guys deserve so much better than what the new supply is getting. The new supply doesn't believe that they deserve any better, right? But you know better. You deserve better. You do not deserve having this crazy, horrible person taking advantage of you and using up your resources, freeloading on your dime, and then cheating on you, right? Yeah. Oh, yeah. Obi says, what about when you get calls and when you answer, they hang up? Yeah, they just want to, it's weird. It's sort of like a fix for them. They want to hear your voice. Narcissists actually get nostalgic too. That is what a lot of people don't understand or realize. Having talked with a couple of different narcissists that I've known, they've shared with me quite deeply because we were friends, and at the time I didn't realize they were narcissists, but they do get nostalgic. They will, they live in the moment, but they also keep a compilation, right, of memories of things that made them feel super special with each supply. And then when they're feeling, when they're looking around and they're not happy where they are right then and there, they start going through that supply, that compilation of memories that made them feel good and special. And it's not unlike us, right? We do that as well. But what narcissists will do is then that gets them motivated to try to see where you are. They kind of get a little fix hearing your voice or knowing that you're still there, right? That you're still attainable, that they can still contact you, that you're still willing to answer the phone, right? When it's them. So to them, they get that little bit of a fix, a little bit of a boost to their ego because they know that you're willing to still contact them or stay in contact with them. Yep. John says, "Is this is so true what you said, spot on." Yeah. Not a member of the harem. I love your handle. I remember you. Good morning. This is awesome. John says, I had a real weight problem with my Crohn's disease. I lost a lot of weight. She could not handle it and held that against me. Now I'm slowly starting to gain weight now and look a whole lot better. Yes. So if she's looking at you now, she's going to get a little bit enticed, right? And I think the narcissists do that. When they catch a glimpse of you around town, if you're still in the same town with them, they may go out of their way to go to the same grocery store they know you go to, or go to the same restaurant they know you go to, or bar, or wherever you normally have gone. Not so much lately, right? Because things have been shut down, but as things open up, they're going to try it and see if you show up. They may not go into the restaurant or the bar, but they may even just hang out in the parking lot waiting to see if you show up. they'll get a glimpse of you. And if you are looking good, if you have been starting to take care of yourself, if you have been getting healthier, they are going to be tempted, very, very tempted to get back in touch with you. They're going to want you back in their life. Um, but that's only because they've already checked you out. They've already decided how they're going to use you, how you're going to fit into their life, how you're going to serve their needs. So be very careful if they should call you. On the one hand, it's kind of a compliment because they're still interested in you. But on the other hand, it's a curse, you guys. It's a curse. Do not pick this up. Do not fall for the bait, okay? Don't go for it. Even though it feels good, right? On the one hand, it feels good because it's a compliment. They're like still interested in you. They still find you attractive, or they're still attracted to you, and they want you in their life. But remember, all of the packaging on the outside is what's drawing them to you, but they're not interested in what's inside. They're not interested in you and who you are and in actually loving you. They're interested in how they can use you. They're interested in how you will play a part in their life in serving them. Yeah. Oh, sorry, you guys, I skipped ahead here. Let me back up a little bit. Obi says, my ex-narc was huge and wanted me to lie to her and give her constant compliments on her foul beauty. Oh no. Aw. Not a member of the harem, says they're narcissistness as well. I guess bringing that into the relationship. Renee says, yep, he's still the same. He's future faking, but now I have the knowledge about narcs. Yes, right? As he's laying it on thick. And you guys, that is one of their biggest hoovers, is to tell you now, suddenly, how much better things are going to be the second time around, right? And all the future faking, all the promises, um, all the stories and pictures that they try to draw for you in your mind, right? Mental pictures of what life's going to be like. We're going to travel. We're going to buy that house we've always wanted. I'm going to work hard. I'm going to work 2 jobs. I'm going to work 3 jobs. And we're going to get the car. I'm going to get a car for you. I'm going to, and they just go on and on and on about how they're going to do all these things. And then they move themselves in to your place and plop themselves in front of the TV and never move again. You guys, be so very careful about that. Do not have them come back in. Or they come into your home and instead of getting those 2 or 3 jobs they were talking about, what they're doing is wheeling and dealing. They're trying to do they're trying to do 2 or 3 get rich fast. You can't even call them programs, right? They're scams. How do you say? Get rich quick scams. Those are the 3 jobs that they say, they started off telling you they're going to get, but it turns out they're not really getting jobs. They're trying to get into these and it's all over the internet, you guys. All these people popping on saying, I'm a millionaire and you don't even have to work all day. You only need to spend 2 hours a day or even 4 hours a week. Get rich fast like I did. Just, pay me $200-300 and I'll show you how to do it. Those are the jobs that the narcissists are actually thinking are jobs. And of course, these things, like any other entrepreneurship, it takes far more than 2 hours a day. It takes far more than 4 hours a week. It takes a lot of time, dedication, commitment to build up a company in any way. So yeah, this is not the narcissist way. They're not going to do that. Obi says, or when they get an STD, they stop cheating until they get it taken care of or used to what they're forced to live with. Ooh, yeah, that's true. You gotta be so careful with STDs. John says she was very superficial and worried about her image. I thought to myself, she thought, how would I look with this skinny guy? And that's so sad on her part. It's not what's outside, and that's sad. Yes. Well, to narcissists, it's very important to them how they appear, right? Their image. It's very important to them that the people they're with makes them look better, like um, elevates them in some way. They don't want someone that they think is going to drag them down. And the crazy funny thing, by the way, in this is that the narcissist thinks they're so hot, and yet they're not, right? The narcissist. Excuse me, you guys. Let me get some more coffee here. Actually, I should do water. There you go. Okay. So the narcissist thinks that they are so good looking. And they think that you are so lucky to have them on your arm. But of course, they want to make sure that you improve their image as well. Yeah. It's again, it's about how can they use you. It's not about them loving you. Wow. SNB, good to see you. Says my narc came back 3 times just to waste my time over and over. On the third time, I found out who his girlfriend was, and I threatened to tell her, and he blocked me on everything. Wow. Yeah, right? They want to use you, and then they just assume that you're going to give them free reign, right? Just a blank ticket, a blank check in your life to do whatever they want. And this is what narcissists think. They think that they can come in, use people however they want. There will be no consequences, right? And to them, a consequence means, let me think how narcissists actually think of consequences. Well, first of all, they think of consequences as unfair, right? They don't think that there should be any consequences to their bad behavior because they think their bad behavior is just a part of them. It's their character. It's who they are. So everybody around them should just accept them as who they are. So if they're a liar or a cheater or they feel insecure, so they need to take from you or they need to be abusive to you because they're so insecure, we're all supposed to just take their abuse and say, well, it's because of their insecurity. That's why they yell at me, or that's why they treat me so badly. That's why they use me because they're afraid of being abandoned, or they have these traumas in the past that won't allow them to grow past this point. So that's why they have to be this way to me, and I have to continually prove myself and my loyalty to them, right? And my love to them. And that's another thing they'll use too is if you love me, you would do this. If you love me, you wouldn't abandon me. See, you're abandoning me. They use guilt. They use all this stuff. They justify their bad behavior with this is just who I am, right? Like this is their character. And they don't take responsibility for the fact that they are now a grown adult and treating another grown adult who also every person has a story. Every person has experienced some level of trauma in their life. The difference between us and a narcissist is they will use the trauma as an excuse, whereas the healthy way to handle trauma is to heal from it, right? Forgive those that caused it. Take responsibility for what we can do in our own lives at this point. Whereas a narcissist is like, no, I'm not going to take responsibility when something else caused this in my life. Now they allow this other thing to ruin everybody's life in who's in their life. So a narcissist just doesn't change because they feel like there should be no consequence to their bad behavior. They're only excuses, right? They should have excuse after excuse after excuse, and we should accept all of their excuses. But nobody else can have an excuse, right? You can't have an excuse because you had a bad day, and that's why you might have been grumpy with them, right? How dare you? How dare you? You cannot have a bad day and be grumpy with them. You cannot make a mistake like that. And I'm saying, like, when we do that and we make those types of mistakes, we adjust and we learn. We don't want to come home grumpy. So we learn how to handle that. We use words instead and saying things like, can I just have some time to myself for the next 30 minutes? I need to unwind. Thank you. And then you unwind. But a narcissist feels like if they had a bad day, they should be able to come home and lay it all on you, right? They should be able to take it out on the supply. And they're like, why would there be any consequences to that? Why would you um, why would you oppress me and tell me I'm not allowed to express myself after I've had a hard day? Like, no, no, you can express yourself, but not in an abusive way towards another person. They just don't get that. Yeah. Well, you guys, we're asking why, does the narcissist cheat on the new supply? And the answer is absolutely yes. And they will cheat on the supply. First of all, the supply, there are a couple different scenarios. Either the supply has no clue, absolutely no clue, right? Because the narcissist will lie. Will say, oh no, I just went out with the guys, or I just went out with the girls. And of course I wasn't cheating. We were just out getting a drink and I'm having fun with my friends. Meanwhile, they don't come home. They don't even come home that night. And then they'll say, well, I went over to my friend's house and they were having a hard time. So I just spent the night and, was helping out my friend. Or they'll say, well, we got so drunk that, so and so took us home and we just crashed at their house. And that's a total lie. They're, at some other woman's house or at some other guy's house. And in the meantime, the new supply wants to believe the story. So they are just oblivious to the fact that the narcissist is cheating on them. Second scenario is that they fully know that the narcissist is cheating on them, right? They've seen it on the phone. They've seen the text messages on their narcissist phone. Your ex-narcissist, they have gotten phone calls from the girlfriends or boyfriends, right? They have seen their narcissist at a bar flirting with everybody around them. They've seen this, but they want they know what's going on, but they're also they're deceiving themselves, right? They don't want to face the truth that the narcissist is actually cheating on them. So when the narcissist lies to them about it, they just want to believe the lie. So they'll just hold on to the lie in order to make things look good on the outside, right? Maybe the narcissist is the one that's the breadwinner. Maybe the narcissist is the one that is giving the new supply stability in their life and bringing benefits to the new supply's life. So the new supply will put up with this, right? The new supply would rather believe all the lies and still have this seemingly perfect life with the narcissist. And that's where, when we look over there at them, we think, well, how come their life looks so good? And how come the new supply is getting all the benefits that I never got? Well, the new supply is making a lot of concessions to the narcissist in order to stay in this fake shamble of a, pretend perfect life. That is what we're actually seeing. Now, another scenario with the new supply is that they know what's going on. They're fully aware of what's going on, but they are also a freaking narcissist. So they're cheating on the side as well. So they're like, well, when the narcissist is out playing, the new supply is also, out playing in their quieter, maybe more subdued way. So the narcissist doesn't even realize the new supply is cheating on them, and the new supply is actually playing the narcissist. So the new supply, being possibly a better or strong, I don't know, say better, but more of a narcissist, the new supply is now just playing the narcissist and taking advantage of the narcissist because the narcissist has a nice house, has a nice car, whatever it is, and the people the new supply wants to, bang or whatever, go out with, they can't provide all of that to the new supply. So new supply is like, oh no, I'm good looking, I'm hot, whatever it is. The narcissist wants me, and we have, hot, intimate time. So they'll stick around and they don't care that the narcissist is out playing around because they're like, they're also out playing around. And they're only using the narcissist for the financial benefits, right? They're only using the narcissist for stability benefits or whatever the benefits might be. And the narcissist and the new supply stay together because they are using one another. And everybody in town, the crazy thing is, everybody in town knows it too. Like, everybody in town knows that each of them is cheating on the other. But nobody can tell them, because if you tell a narcissist anything, the narcissist is the kind of person that attacks the messenger. They are not going to let the messenger out scot free, right? If you're so nobody wants to be attacked, nobody wants to be the target, nobody wants to be the messenger of bad news. So everybody just kind of stands aside or apart from all of this disaster and watches. Now, for the ex, for you, you're not in their inner circle anymore. You're not in with the flying monkeys and the fan club. So you're unaware that these two are just totally using each other and cheating on one another. And from your perspective, it might look like, man, they look like a perfect couple. They only always post these happy pictures of them going around doing things together and slobbering all over each other and posting about how they found the perfect soulmate. Meanwhile, they're doing this to manipulate each other, right? So each of them posting about how this is my soulmate and you're an answer to a prayer or whatever, they will post these things manipulating the other person, right? So that is the other scenario where actually to us it's quite humorous, it's quite amusing. And if you have the opportunity to kind of witness this, it's I wouldn't watch it. That's the other thing, because it's really hard for us to separate and differentiate what's real and what's fantasy, right? We're more likely going to believe the fantasy, believe the image that they portray, and then that makes us feel horrible, makes us feel like, oh, we're missing out. And why is the narcissist so much better now that I'm out of the picture? We're going to feel that way. Whereas when you hear years down the road, or even months down the road, and the narcissist is contacting you, that is your first indication, or one of your indications, that things are not as much of a paradise, right, as they portray it to be. Things are not going as great as they pretend it to be. But if you should, and I don't ever recommend this, but if you should see their Facebook or their, any of their social media, it's going to look like it's a fantasy. It's going to look like paradise. Even though they're calling you, even though you're hearing from other people that these two barely spend time together, even though you're hearing that the new supply has, side supply, and you're like, oh, but for some reason, we tend to be more critical and believe things that are harmful to us. So we're going to believe that, oh no, things are still good for them. So that's why I don't suggest you look. But we just know that these things exist. We know that this is the pattern for the narcissist and their new supply. Eric Craig, hello from Scotland. Good afternoon. Oh my gosh, I've been watching this show. Oh, Still Game is what it's called. And it is killing me. It's so hilarious. From Scotland. Love it. I think if I keep watching it, I'm going to start picking up the accent. And the accent is so strong in this show that I have to turn on subtitles to understand what they're saying. Uh, uh, you guys, I'm just checking, following up on some of the comments here. Yeah. Oh, yeah. VB Scott says they expect perfect worship from you. Yeah. Amy, good to see you. Says my ex had done the online cheating plus other things. Pretty much, I think the whole relationship, which was 5 years, then married the new one he had been with 3 months. Oh, yeah, that is exactly the narcissist. And they marry. If you want to watch one of my videos, it's called "Why the Narcissist Immediately Marries the New Supply." I'll put a link to it in the comments later on or in the description later on. But the reason a narcissist, will hang around for 5 years with someone, cheating left and right, and then marry somebody else after knowing them just 3 months, right? You're like, what the heck? There are several reasons for that, and I'm not going to get into all of them here, but one of the reasons is, they're like, ooh, shiny new toy, and it's exciting to them, and maybe they I don't want to say they haven't felt excited in those 5 years, but into a relationship after a few years, it kind of gets normal and not as exciting. So they are caught up in the thrill of the new relationship, and they want to pin this down. They think it's going to last forever. So they're going to pin this person down and marry them because they don't want to let this go. Only to find out that the new supply is a total disaster later on. That's the crazy thing, because narcissists will rush into something that they think they're escaping, right? They're escaping the more humdrum, kind of boring 5 year relationship, 10-year relationship, whatever it is. And they think, oh, this one is so mind blowing and so exciting. And they want to pin that down. They want to be like, oh, that's what I want for the rest of my life. What they don't understand is every relationship, or not every, I guess, a lot of relationships start off that way with a big bang. And then you have to learn each other's quirks, and you have to learn how to communicate better and how to work through hard things and disagreements and stressful times. Yeah, they're going to have to deal with that. And they, for some reason, well, not just some reason, narcissists just don't look forward. They don't plan ahead. They just live in the moment. Yeah. Rye Shines, good to see you, says, oh yeah, I saw you earlier, sorry. But says, yes, ex-narc cheating on the new supply with me. I didn't know it till after the fact. So disturbing. Yeah, the narcissist, and this is where we take on the whole stigma of being cheated on, right? You're not good enough. You didn't measure up. The new supply must be so much better. All this baloney. That's all baloney, by the way. It's that the narcissist needs more than any person can give. So they are going to need multiple supply. They're going to need to be invigorated or motivated or excited by more than just one person, because you can't use the same tactic again and again with a narcissist. They don't actually fall in love with you. They're not excited to see you. They don't understand how to renew excitement in a relationship. Okay? Yeah, that lasts. So that's why they move on to more and more supply. So we have to not take on the responsibility of why they moved on. They moved on because of who they are. Yeah. Yeah. Amy says, but there's something that I didn't understand was why he had rubbed the new marriage in my face several times. Well, I'm gonna say a few things on that in just a second. Hmm. Gotta have my drink. Hmm. Well, it depends on what was going on in your relationship. If it was that, oh, how do I, well, it really just depends on what was going on in your relationship. But part of it is because they want you to know it wasn't them, it was you, right? They want to blame you for the failure of your relationship. So this is their way of letting you know, hey, it wasn't me. I wasn't the problem. You're the problem. especially when things came out during your relationship that showed them that they indeed are the problem, right? They indeed are the ones who are psychologically unstable. They're they're financially unstable. They have terrible character flaws. They have a terrible temper. They're constantly apologizing for every time they blow up at you or cheat on you or do bad things in your relationship. Now they find a supply that, for the time being, makes them feel like they can hide from their flaws, right? They can hide from their imperfections. They can hide from the fact that they're a total jerk and play this pretend character with the new supply, which who the new supply doesn't realize what the real character is, because the real character has probably not shown up yet, right? They're wearing this mask. The narcissist is wearing a mask, and the new supply has fallen in love with the mask. And now the narcissist wants to pretend that the mask is their real personality and that you were the cause of all the problems in the relationship, obviously, right? Because look at this, I have this new supply that wants to marry me right away. So must be because I'm that good of a person and I'm that much of a catch. So they want to rub it into your face to make you take the blame for the failures of your relationship. Because as we were saying before, right, the narcissist does not believe there are any consequences to their own actions, only consequences to your actions, right? Yeah. Obi-Wan says narcs are like history. They keep repeating themselves through their actions. Yes. And the weird thing is they keep changing history, right? They rewrite history. Things you'll remember that happened in your relationship with them, they're going to say, oh no, that never happened. Or you did this. And you're like, no, I never did that. Remember when you wrecked the car? You're like, no, I never wrecked the car. You wrecked the car. And they're like, yeah, but you were in the car and you caused me to wreck the car. Like, what the heck? But their story is that you wrecked the car. And everybody thinks that you were driving the car when it wrecked, because they don't fill in the other part of the information that they were actually driving. And it wasn't you that caused the wreck. It was their frustration and they're mad at you and they sped up or they started driving erratically and they caused the accident. Because remember, they don't have any consequences to their actions. Everything is somebody else's responsibility. Everything that happens that's bad in their life is caused by somebody else. Yeah. Rai says, I knew the new supply. She backstabbed me too. Ah, I'm so sorry about that. And by the way, where did I see this? Right. I'm so sorry that happened to you, because that is a double betrayal, right? From him and from her. And it's so hard to recover from betrayal like that, because you feel like, hopefully this will help you. Do not blame yourself. Okay. When these two betray you, it's because of them. It's because they were flirting with each other. And like I said before, narcissists are always on the lookout for new supply. They are always hunting for new supply. So, what better fertile ground than your partner's friends, right? So, be very careful when you have friends that come over and hang out with you and you're a narcissist. This is actually kind of a backwards blessing, because if they do hook up with your friend, you just got rid of a gypsy curse. Okay, so that's actually a really good thing. But I know in the time and at the time, you're going to feel like this huge betrayal. You're going to feel demolished. You're going to feel like, what's wrong with me? And I'm a loser. And, you're looking over there and their life looks perfect. So you feel even worse. But the reality is that they just took this friend of yours who backstabbed you, just took the gypsy curse off of you, off of your hands. So it really is a blessing. The trick here, or the challenge here, is to not blame yourself when that happens, and not look at yourself as lesser than when that happens. or that you deserve to be treated that way. You did not deserve to be treated that way, but everything that's meant for bad can be used for good, right? And there's a Bible scripture about that. Everything that's meant for evil, God will use for good. So even if somebody, because there's evil in this world, there's sin in this world, even if somebody is taking advantage of you or trying to hurt you and all that, in the end, depending on you, depending on your decision to take responsibility for what you can take responsibility for, depending on whether you will make the decision for you to get better, to make better choices, to improve yourself, to get healthier, you can actually change the result of whatever that bad was. You can change what was meant for bad into something good and incredibly beneficial, right? There's so many times that when something bad happened, if it didn't happen, you wouldn't have ended up in this really amazing situation. Now, when you're in the moment of recovering from that bad situation, it doesn't feel that way. I know it doesn't feel that way. But here's another scripture that will help you. This too shall pass. Okay, this too shall pass. So every bad thing doesn't last forever. It can and it will pass. How fast it passes, many times depends on what we decide, the choices that we make. So that's why I have you guys here on this channel, to help you make better choices for yourself and help each other make better choices, right? And be aware of the tactics that are being used against us. So to not fall for them, right? Yep. Renee says, when I busted the narc for living a double life, the new supply, the new supply kept him. Oh, I think that kind of disgusted the narc that she kept him. Oh my gosh, it's so true. Narcissists they don't have respect for anybody to begin with, right? But they have very little respect for people that allow the narcissist to use them. And even though the new supply, or even the long time supply, thinks that they are being a great partner by forgiving the narcissist or by taking the narcissist back, they think that the narcissist now will feel like they owe them, right? That that the new supply should get some points for this. And yet what happens is the narcissist looks at that and says, oh, look at how easily you were used, or how easily I could get back into your life, and I barely had to apologize at all. I just made up some really stupid story and you just took it. You're very gullible, and they start seeing the new supply as very unworthy, right? So this is why when you take a narcissist back the second, third, whatever time, it gets worse and worse, because they get even less and less respect for the new supply, and they actually feel now they're entitled to even more of the new supply. Yeah. And that's why boundaries with a narcissist is so important. We've talked about boundaries on this channel quite a bit. And in my last episode, I was telling you guys, somebody had mentioned boundaries, and I can't remember what the other thing was, boundaries and something else. But they were kind of downplaying the boundaries, not because they're ignorant or anything like that. It's just that they kind of thought, the way most people think of boundaries is just saying no, right? No, boundaries is not just saying no. Boundaries is having a consequence to the requirement or to the limit. Okay? When someone goes over this limit with you, when someone goes over the line with you, and you said, okay, there is no, this is a really crazy situation I'll give you. So I have a friend who had someone steal money from her. So let's say the boundary was, if you steal, I'm talking about thousands of dollars from her, because she stashed away a few $1,000s in her house thinking that would be a safe place to keep cash. But this friend of hers found the stash of, I think it was $5,000, and took it. So this person that I know said the boundary was no, of course, you can't steal from me. But did she enforce it? Were there any consequences to the person who stole the money from her? And I'll tell you, there were no consequences. None. Like, all she did was she badgered the person until finally the person admitted it and gave back the money. And then they remained friends. And I was like, what the heck? What kind of consequence is it that all you did was badger them? And and in the end, you're still friends and you're still doing things for them and you're still buying things for them and you're still giving things to them. Like, that is not a boundary. A boundary is just whining or badgering without consequences, right? It's nagging. Boundaries are just nagging unless there's a consequence. So we are not interested in nagging somebody to follow the rules, because nagging does not force a person to follow the rules, right? Because there are no consequences. The consequences have to actually impact the person committing or going over the boundary. So, you guys, that's why it's really important. If the new supply keeps taking the narcissist back, that shows the narcissist there are no boundaries. The boundary is the new supply keeps saying, if you cheat on me again, I'm going to leave. And then they cheat on the new supply again, and the new supply doesn't leave. So, no consequences, no boundaries. Just because you say no doesn't mean that's a boundary. The boundary comes with consequences. So, just wanted to share that with you guys. Uh, oh my gosh, yeah. E. Scott says, my ex was trying to continue the relationship with me during the discard, wanted to play both sides. When I understood cheating was happening, I would not. She did not like that. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Crystal says, and good to see you, by the way. Says they don't respect anyone. They'll cheat on new supply with old supplies. All old supplies are options in an narc's head. Yes, so true. Oh no. Obi, you know how I feel about this, and I'm always going to call you on this, by the way. Obi says, what if you meet a narc and run the same game they play? That's my situation at the moment. Obi, I do not recommend that. Do not play the same game as a narcissist, because then you pick up their traits, you pick up their habits, and then you become like them to the point where you lose yourself. You lose your own morals, you lose your own standards. And then when a good person comes into your life, it may be too tempting or too habit habitual, I guess, that you fall back to doing what you had done before. So don't you become what you practice, okay? So don't practice being a narcissist, even with a narcissist. If a narcissist comes into your life, you don't treat them the way they treat you. You just don't play their game. That's how you do it. You don't play their game. And you call them on it. You call them on their junk, okay? You do not play their game. Now, there are times that you can outsmart a narcissist, and that's different. Outsmarting a narcissist is not playing their game. It's just you don't get taken by them, and in the end, they lose. Okay, that's the difference. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Rai says, I can never play a game with a single person. I would feel horrible. Exactly. When you start playing these games and becoming and practicing the stuff that the narcissist practices, you will become what you practice. You will become what you do. So don't do that. And you will get burned. That's the other thing. You're playing with fire. Oh, I see. Nobody says, yeah, but if they start it, I don't mind finishing their warped game with a bang. Yeah, I just wouldn't play it. I don't see the point of spreading more horrible stuff out there. Um, you want to stop them in their tracks, you want to expose them, but you don't need to play their games and then get off on that, right? Because if you, Obi, you know this. you've, you've said this a few times on my channel, but you know where I stand with that. Amy says, I agree. For me, it was bad because I allowed him to strip me of my self esteem. Yeah. Lady Marks, good to see you. Oh, it says, what's the show called? Wait, which show are we talking about? I don't know, Lady Marks, what you're asking. Obi says, I live a boring life, so I have time to play their game until I get sick of it. Obi! Then you need to live an exciting and more interesting life. Okay. Yeah. BB Scott says, ego degradation and ego death. They know what they are doing and slowly destroy you through time. Yeah. And even with that, I want to give you guys hope because even with that, they actually haven't destroyed you. They may have hurt you for a time, they may have crushed you for a time, but you can rise from the ashes. You can rebuild. And as long as there's breath in your lungs, you have hope. There is a future. There is a next day. And like I said before, this too shall pass. And you will grow, you will get stronger, you will rebuild and become an amazing, beautiful, handsome, incredible person. So don't give up. Don't give up on yourself. Never, never, ever give up on yourself. Yeah. Crystal says, I'm full no contact. In the end stages of the relationship, though, my non emotional responses through email really played with his head. Yeah, you know, that kind of, yes, interaction with a narcissist, we're not using them and all that, but we're not allowing their manipulations to work on us, right? And we're calling them out on it. Yep. Uh, BB Sky, I love that. Says, it will come back with mindfulness and healing. The healing from this, when done intentionally, is transformative. I agree. Absolutely agree. BB Scott says, this is a promise. Yep. Keep on trying. Oh, that's a good point, Obi. I like that. Says my current narc wanted to take lovey-dovey pictures, and I told them, oh heck no, you're not going to use me to triangulate an ex-victim. Absolutely. Good job. Good job. Yeah. Wow, you guys, our hour has gone by so fast. I don't know how far behind I am on comments. Ooh, yeah, quite a bit. Ooh, yeah. Crystal says, my ex's news supply has her social media plastered with him and love this and love that with her children too. I feel she's trying to prove something. I do feel sorry for her because X can pretend as well. Yes, right? The X is pretending along and playing the news supply because the narcissist knows if they give the news supply the impression that they are totally into all of this, that they are calling the news supply their love of their life and all this, the news supply will fall for it. I mean, that's all the news supply needs is words, right? So the narcissist, what easier manipulation is there for the narcissist than words? So words and pictures on social media. I was gonna say facial media, but you know what I mean. Um, yeah, that's the easiest thing for a narcissist is to make promises, is to lay it on super thick for the news supply. And the news supply thinks, oh, all these words, they mean something. They're going to be backed up with action. And then it's never backed up with action. Or maybe backed up with breadcrumbs, right? They'll throw a few crumbs to the news supply to make the news supply think there's more to come. And yet there is never more to come. They're already on fumes. They're already going on fumes. They're not even able to get you across town. Yeah. Yeah, BB Scott says this experience is a wake up call to us. It is a call to us that we have needed real healing. Ah, yes. When we take this and purposefully heal, things change dramatically, but slowly. Be kind and patient to yourself. I love that, BB Scott. That's excellent because, I've mentioned this before as well, to be kind to yourself during this time, and it is transformative. When the narcissist comes into your life and wreaks havoc, it's really a big red flag to you that there was something drastically wrong in your life, something that was lacking, or something that um, was was going on in you that allowed for you to want this so badly, right? To want the future faking so badly, to want to believe the the drippy words of honey coming from the narcissist. And what was that, right? Is it that, even though you were successful, even though you're beautiful or handsome, or even though you have people falling all over, and you're charismatic, even though you seem on the outside very successful, there must have been something inside of you that gave you doubts about yourself, right? Something inside that made you vulnerable to wanting to believe what the narcissist was feeding you. And part of that could have been that you haven't yet developed that kind of a deep relationship. And you might want to find out, like, what has kept you from developing a deep relationship with someone. Now, another thing, though, is that maybe you are all these wonderful things and you are strong, but the narcissist comes in, and by the way, they play a fantasy character. They're not even real. So part of us wants to believe there is a real person out there that's almost, what I want to say, too good to be true, right? That's almost your dream and fantasy person. Why is it that we want to believe that there's this fantasy person that exists out there? Is it because there's something in our life that's not being fulfilled, right? Are we seeking for somebody else to fill something and serve a certain purpose for us? Um, and maybe part of that is that we are lacking somewhere. And instead of being whole enough to come to another person and build that person up, and then they compliment you and build you up, it should really be each of you giving 100%. One of the really cool things I heard that came out a few years ago, people have always said it's 50-50. You have to give 50, they have to give 50. And actually, no, it's 100%, 100%. You have to give 100%, they have to give 100%. So that makes more sense to me. Like, you can't just give part of yourself into a relationship. You have to be all in, right? You have to want it to work. But they also have to be all in. Because if one person is giving 50% and the other person is giving 100%, it's not going to be very, very fulfilling, right? So, yeah. Yeah. Oh, I like that. BB Scott says Joel to Joel. I don't know about Joel. Okay. 225. I will restore the years lost. Obi-Wan says, I'm dating. Oh, you guys. Oof. Oh, Frost is best in world. Good to see you. Yeah. Eric Craigs. This too shall pass. Well, you guys, we are past our hour. I will give you a few more minutes to wrap up some of your conversations. This really flowed easily today, you guys, the conversation. And I'm so glad that you came. I'm so glad that you contributed. I think, oh, Old Testament minor prophet. Oh, thanks, BB Scott. So, yeah, so glad that you came in. I'm so glad that you shared all your stories. We all learned so much from each other. And it really, how do I say? it validates for us that, wow, all, other people have gone through the same thing I've gone through, or as I'm going through it, these people have already gone through it. It really helps everybody when we share our experiences. And it's funny thing is, it takes away from the narcissist, right? It dismantles their tricks and their bag of manipulations and all that. We actually get to share their tricks, and then that way we don't fall for it. Process best in world. Oh, I am quite far behind, but let me catch this one. Says, now I'm worried, wanting to leave a nice person because it doesn't feel right will land me back with a narcissist because I know a lot of the time, hold on, models are narcissist, at least from what I've heard. Oh, yeah. I must have missed something earlier. Oh, yeah. Let me see if I can go back. Wow. Wow. Okay. I missed something. Jennifer, good to see you. Yeah. So it's completely making fun of the ex narc. They are jokes and beyond delusional. Things will get better. It does take longer, but in the end, it's so worth it. Absolutely. I want to get back to Frost's. Um. Oh yeah. Gosh, you guys, I got to go back quite a bit. Skid Cuddy, good to see you. Says my ex after 2 years, she's calling my office. She thought it's a game, and for me, it's over. Yep, and it is a game to the narcissist. They use words, they use manipulations, they use people. They don't really see you as a whole person. They see you as a tool, right? As something to be used. Okay, here it is. Frost is best in world says, I found myself in a situation this week. I've been with someone super nice to me, but after the narcissist, I never felt the same spark with her. So now a girl from my hometown is pursuing me, who's drop dead gorgeous model, and it feels like a lot like love bombing, but my heart is kinda in two places. Oh, okay, now I understand. Crystal Jean's been responding to this. Yeah. And I agree with her that she said, she doesn't recommend starting to date until you're fully over the last one. And I would agree with that because you're going to bring a lot of baggage with you into the new relationship. And not only that, you're going to not be able to discern because you're still emotionally wounded. You're not going to be able to see quite straight yet. You're not going to be able to discern when you're being played or if you're being played. And yeah, just to be careful with that. Yeah. Crystal says, Frosty, I feel you. After the first discard almost 20 years ago, no other guy I dated felt right. But that's because narcs are addictive and cause a dopamine rush. Healthy doesn't feel like that. Yes, totally agree with you. And I've talked about that before too, haven't I? With the dopamine and the hormones that are released when you are in this fantasy with the narcissist. They build up this hormonal reaction from you that is so hard because it causes you to have this reaction whenever you think about them or whenever you hear from them or interact with them. That's what happens. That's why the connection to the narcissist feels so strong. We have to break that. We have to train our body not to release those hormones when we're thinking about the narcissist. And that's why I talk about making a list. Make a list of all the terrible things that the narcissist did. Do not make a pros and cons list. Make simply a cons list. And once you make that list, when you're starting to be nostalgic about the narcissist, or when the narcissist sends you a text, or when you see the narcissist around town, pull out that list, because that will stop your body from producing that hormone, the dopamine. It'll stop your body from desiring and being tempted to be drawn towards the narcissist, because this list will be cringy, right? This list will wake you up and slap you awake. And once you see the list of the terrible things they did, the desire for the narcissist will be squashed. So that's how you deal with that. And you have to do that, by the way. Oh, okay. So this is kind of new, actually, you guys, and I want to get off soon, but there's so much to talk about with this. Um, when you are in another relationship and it doesn't feel right because you're being nostalgic, right? Your mind is somewhere else. You're going to be thinking about all the incredible times you had with your ex narc. That's another time when the list would be very useful. Look at that list when you start to feel nostalgic about the narcissist. And even though you're in a relationship with a perfectly good person, pull up this list when you start to feel that way, when you start to feel the desire for the narcissist pulling you away from your present relationship. That will kind of slap you awake again. It will pull you back into the present rather than have you lingering in the past, being nostalgic about the narcissist. Then you're going to be able to be present with the person who is in front of you. So I would highly recommend this list. It is such a simple tool, but it will free you from the mental trap that you have on you because of the narcissist. Yeah. BB Scott says our brain wants to focus on the good. It's a survival mechanism, but it's extremely dangerous when it comes to narcissists and toxic people. Absolutely. So I will leave you guys with that. The last point, and maybe we'll talk about that a lot more in our next show, or I don't know what to call this, live stream, I guess. But definitely, we want to talk about how then do we break this mental barrier, right? This mental chain that keeps us from getting into new relationships or really being present in the new relationships that we are in. And I think we have to suppress or get rid of that hormonal response when we think about the narcissist. That is what is actually keeping us bound and chained to the narcissist. Well, you guys, I really appreciate you coming on. Please like the video. Please comment in the comment section in the video. That helps to boost the views, I guess, of the video. And share. And if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. I love seeing you guys here, and I will be praying for you this week. Many blessings to you. I think that this is a fabulous community that we have here. Keep on keeping on, you guys. Don't forget that if you're in a bad situation right now, if you're feeling really down, this too shall pass. It is not forever. And the forever part is really beautiful. There are so many good things ahead for you. And we're going to get there. We're going to get there together, you guys. Blessings to you. Peace out. I love you guys, and I will see you next week.